I hope you all enjoyed that photo montage of my father's life put together by my sister, Kristen. It was incredibly comprehensive. Seemed like about 800 slides. And in case you were wondering, the musical accompaniment was by Kristen's son, Donald, alternating between harmonica and, I want to say, recorder. I'll go with recorder. And the songs played were Stairway to Heaven, the theme from the Munsters, Toot Toot Tootsie Goodbye. I think I'll just post the rest of the list on the website. Great job, Donald. And now my sister will say a few words.
My dad was like a soaring eagle. He was like the cruel laugh of the ocean. In the summer, he was like a heliotrope bouquet. And in the winter, like an arrangement of mums. And of course, in the fall, baby's breath. The true tragedy is that Dad will never know that my son, Donald, has just gotten into Harvard. In retrospect, I should have told Dad the moment we heard, but honestly, I never dreamed the sands of time were closing in so quickly. I can only imagine how Dad would feel upon hearing this fantastic but totally expected news. Way to go, Donald! So, Dad, you are my mentor, my advisor, my confidant, my best friend, my font of wisdom, my plumber. I don't know how I'll get by without you. You leave a hole inside me the size of an infected bullet wound. Goodbye, Dad. Oh, and Dad's Picasso. I know he would have wanted me to have it.
Thank you, Kristen, for that heartfelt tribute. Even though it went a little longer than we agreed, it was lovely. When we talk about my father, he led such a long and varied life that we have to know which person we're talking about. Troy, the cardiologist. Troy, the father and provider. Troy, the old and embittered man, constantly complaining to me that his children didn't visit, even though I was clearly there. Troy, the man who carefully read through any legal document, like a will, for example, to make sure he understood what he was signing in front of witnesses. Rest in peace, Dad.
I have to add one more thing.
We have a schedule.
2 minutes. Promise. Whenever I would speak to Dad on the phone, which was practically every night, we'd talk about many things. The importance of a good conversation. How amazing the phone was. It was as good as an actual visit. And when I gave him an iPad for his birthday, which cost over $2,000, I fully expected to transform my long-distance hugfest from sound to picture. The iPad has a picture phone, Dad, I explained, like at the World's Fair. Unfortunately, Dad was denied that final joy, as no one was able to connect the iPad to the internet. My cash outlay was wasted. Still, Dad was so overjoyed at my generous gift of the iPad that he offered to change his will. I will testify that in court if necessary. Dad, you can never be replaced. Goodbye.
Thanks again for those heart-rending words, sis. Before I continue, I have one announcement to make. We are now behind schedule by 10 minutes. We will have to vacate the funeral home promptly at 11. Uncle Morris, I'm sorry, you're bumped. I know you flew in from Chicago, but you know Kristen. And that reminds me of a story about Dad. An iPad arrived at the house one day, which confused Dad in an amusing way. He thought it was a badly designed Frisbee. I'm sorry that I never had the time to order the complete rewiring of Dad's house in order to use a technology that was as foreign to him as the companionship of his daughter. I was far too busy just keeping him fed, clothed, and alive. Besides, after he flung the iPad at Jasmine, the home health aide, it was pretty useless. It's still lodged in the bedroom wall. Picasso is mine.
Dad was deeply disappointed in his son. Deeply. Gus never applies himself to anything, Dad told me on numerous occasions. And he's stealing, too. Of course, how could I believe my father was telling the truth about the stealing? Well, I was this close to hiring a forensic accountant, but I trust my brother, even though Dad didn't. See you soon, Dad. In our hall, we have a picture of you, and a spot right next to it for the Picasso. It's specially lit with designer LED lights. It will look lovely.
We were going to have a performance by the Bell Ringers of St. Anthony's doing a tribute to my father written by Pastor Michael, but again, apologies, the clock is relentless, and if my sister doesn't understand the importance of time management, it can't be helped. Okay, let's not dance around the fact that my father had Alzheimer's when he died. Sure, if you weren't around day to day, you might have missed the subtle signs, like the fact that he started wearing his clothes backwards, or his insistence that he had been kidnapped and was now living in Dunkirk. Gosh, there's so many stories, so many examples to choose from. Here's one amusing story. One day, Dad started telling sex jokes. And while he couldn't remember what day it was, he sure could remember a lot of sex jokes. Each one more excruciating than the last. We went through many aids about that time. It was difficult, to say the least. Some might say I should be compensated for the stress of caring for an elderly, not particularly nice man. But how can you put a price on family love and devotion? I can't, but fortunately, I don't have to. This is my power of attorney.
This is one of the last letters Dad sent me. Help me! I'm in jail for the gold! Strangers eat my apple! Take! I ask you, does that sound like a man receiving quality care? To me, it sounds like a man who has begun to question the motives of family. I don't know who is eating Dad's apple. Possibly Cousin Fred. I know Dad was upset to learn that Cousin Fred was going to community college. A fact apparently hidden from him, as each time I mentioned it, he reacted as if he had heard it for the first time. I won't let Dad's legacy be distorted. I am forced to engage a lawyer to preserve his legacy. Thank you.
My son Fred just completed his GED, and we are very proud. I sometimes feel I haven't had as much time to devote to my son as I would have liked. I wonder why. I wonder where my focus has been for the past 3 years. I'm reminded of the story of Henny Penny or a Little Red Turkey or something. The one about the animal who did all the work, and everyone wanted to glom on to whatever he did, and everyone wanted to eat the bread, but no one wanted to take care of the bread when it was old and wearing diapers. And it was horrible bread, too. Mean and nasty, smelly bread. Anyway, that was Dad's favorite story. And it reminds me of my sister. Where was she when Dad wanted to watch torture porn all night? Oh, right. That's what Dad had in common with Donald. When Donald came to visit, that was the great bonding moment. Torture porn. You might want to take a look in Donald's room, by the way. One of the drawers has a false bottom. Next, to pay tribute,
Kristen launches herself at Gus and they begin tussling.
You don't deserve the Picasso!
the tribute from Dad's combat unit is canceled.
Kristen and Gus fall to the floor. They each take a deep breath and try to compose themselves. Kristen gets up first.
If you are interested in making a contribution to honor this extraordinary man, my father...
My father.
Dad requested that contributions be made to...
Doctors
World
Without
Peace
Borders.
Foundation.
Blackout.